Hey everybody, I'm really happy to finally be able to come here and make a video about a release that's been announced last couple of days. It's called The Beatles The Singles Collection. And what this is a box set, nice blue box of 22 picture sleeve records, 45 7-inch records. The UK singles that were released between 1962 and 1970, all of them. And what really makes this set special to me is that it's going to be a variety of picture sleeves. Some of these picture sleeves, as you can see if you look it up online, are downright gorgeous. Okay, and sterling, pristine looking, and they're from all around the world. These are not just from any one country, so they give you a good assortment from all over. And that's why, as an aside here, I personally think they should have called this the International Singles Collection, which I thought would have been more appropriate, but that's a small thing. These are going to be records that are said to be mastered at Abbey Road Studios, taken from the original mono and stereo tapes. So take that for what it's worth. I personally am not really in it for the actual music, the records. I mean, I've got them a million times in a different million ways. What I'm interested in is having a nice set with a really attractive packaging. I think these are really nice to have. Um, uh, People who've watched my channel for a long time know how I feel about collecting. You can see I have a pretty nice collection. I like originals when I can get them. I always will pick the originals over the replicas. Even back a few years ago when they put out that wonderful set that was pretty good, the UK LP set in mono, the mono albums, it was great to have the covers all pristine and brand new, like they just were made yesterday. They look beautiful. But it always nagged me that they're not original. They're facsimiles, they're replicas, and I'm not really keen on that, except in certain cases. I guess what I do is I tend to just take it item by item and see which ones work for me for whatever reason, which ones I want to own, which ones I don't care about. In this particular case, these are so beautiful that I'm happy to have these, whether they're originals or not. Don't ask me to explain the inconsistency. It's just the way it goes. However it hits you, you go for it. Now, it's a beautiful looking set. You can look online. We'll do a link to the Beatles singles collection and you'll see it. And of course, already all across social media, people are complaining, as is expected whenever there's a new Beatles item, because the price is $230 or less, depending on where you order it from. If you can get it for under $200, more power to you. Maybe in time you'll see better deals. But, people are allowed to voice their opinions, and I want you to do so right here. You can come down here in the comments, tell me if you like what you hear, if you're pissed off about the price, if whatever it is. But I just have to weigh in on that a little bit because you have to realize at $230, you're paying basically somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 for each one of the 22 records. And if you get it cheaper, obviously it's less than that. But you're also going to be getting, I should tell you, a 40-page booklet, 40 pages that are going to detail the history of all this, and it's going to be chock full of photos and stuff. So you're paying for a book and also about $10 a single. And these days, as you know from Record Store Day, as you know from new releases, hey, prices always go up. I mean, comic books these days, I think, are what, $5 a piece or more for a comic book that used to cost a dime, 12 cents. 45s are no exception. 45s tend to run $7, $8, $9, $10 each. So basically, if you were to buy these all individually, that's what it would come out to. And I think that's what happens a lot of times when people buy something in bulk like that. A lot of times people will buy a record set and they'll say, oh my God, $200. Yeah, but you're getting 20 something individual items in the box. Same thing happens with movies. If you're a movie collector with DVD releases, people say, why is it so much? Because it's the whole thing at once. That's why. Now, would I say that it's overpriced? I think if you could get this for around $150, something, something like that, excuse me, I would say, yeah, that's probably more desirable. I mean, the less the better, right? Of course. But let's be realistic here. They're not giving these things away. And people always use a term that's floating all around. It's become really like one of the biggest catchphrases everywhere you go online, and it's called cash grab. This is just a cash grab. This is a money grab. People just throw that out any time, and you know what? Maybe it is a cash grab, but so what? You're free to not buy it. You're free to leave it alone for those of us who do want to buy it. And let's be honest about it. People have been in business to make money since the beginning of businesses, the beginning of recorded time, and before recorded time. People want to make money. People want to make a profit. That's nothing new. It's been around for ages. You don't want it, you don't buy it. But I'm going to try to be fair, as I often do. I see everything with shades of gray, not all black or white. So I'm going to say I'm guilty of that too, complaining. If you watch my videos, you'll see there were times when, depending on what the item in question was, I was also critical. I was also cynical. I remember a couple of items that come to mind. The George Harrison box set of albums that came out several years ago was absurdly priced at $400, I think around there in my estimation. And I just didn't think it was worth it to get all the George Harrison albums that I already have in pretty mint condition anyway. Here's a case where I decided that what I wanted to do was I wanted to collect the original releases on the original LPs by George. I didn't want to get facsimiles, replicas, artificial copies, how I look at them, for that kind of money. What I did like about the George set was they had a really beautiful, like, I think a hologram type of box to keep them in with George's face on there. And that was really nice, but it wasn't worth it to me. Another item that I'm going to bring up is Paul McCartney's Egypt Station suitcase, which was called the Traveler's Edition, I believe. It had a suitcase. It was absurdly priced in my estimation, and it had stuff in there you really had already or you could get elsewhere. And what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to be fair here. I also at times will pick on a price. I will also say, why are they releasing this? Why are they releasing that? Why don't they do this instead? So I'm not innocent in all this. And your mileage is going to vary from item to item. Some items you might think are worth the money. Some you might think are not. We can only make those choices individually ourselves. So I mean, but I get the whining to a point. But in a case like this, not as much. As much as I would like to own the originals, and in a lot of cases of these 45s that are coming out in the box set, I do have a bunch of the originals. Not as gorgeous looking, as perfect as these are going to be, but then again, they're original. The new ones are facsimiles. That's the trade-off. But just to have the collection with all these beautiful sleeves, to me, real or not, I mean, original or reproduced, to me, is worth it. I just take it at a one at a time item basis. So another thing is, it's always great to get product, I think, from the Beatles, no matter how you feel about it, right? You got to try to remember, for those who have been around a while, years ago, we weren't getting really any new items by Apple. Apple didn't care about anything, didn't really care about putting anything out. Now we're getting a lot of stuff. I mean, we had the Beatles Christmas Messages collection on, small records. We had that a couple of years ago. We had the Hollywood Bowl reissued with better quality and extra tracks on it. Of course, we're getting all these deluxe editions of the anniversaries of Pepper, White Album, Abbey Road. You can see the display back there advertising that. We're getting a lot of stuff now, and people cry when they're getting nothing, and they cry when they're getting a lot. Some people are saying, this is too much, it's too much, stop already, stop. People are never satisfied. At times, same here. But I think we should be grateful that we're getting this. And I'm very excited about it. I'm about to place my pre-order after this. I'm going to do it. And hopefully the price will come down somewhat. But, folks, it's there if you want it. If you don't want it, don't get it. But it's always good to have the Beatles out there with new stuff, or even re-release stuff that hasn't been out in a while, in some cases, for new generations, too. So enjoy or not. That's your choice. I hope you'll choose to enjoy it and have a good time. Take care, folks. I'm off to pre-order.